Absolute Wealth. Real investors, real results.
Hi everybody, this is James R. Gorrie, Managing Editor at Absolute Wealth with the good, the bad, and the gory. Today we're going to move just a little bit off that because I want to talk about Glenn Beck's event, Restoring Love, that happened last weekend at Cowboy Stadium in Dallas. What a big deal. Tons of people were there, as low as 65,000 estimates, but I think it was higher. I was in the luxury box with a special invitation from Glenn Beck's people. I got to tell you, there was probably 100,000 people there, maybe close, maybe 90. But what a terrific event. Now, the gist of that event was restoring love. But the messages I took away from there were a couple, very important ones. Beck believes that the idea of America still matters. I happen to agree with him there. And that it needs to be, and most importantly, can be restored. Part of that restoration has to do with the idea of American exceptionalism, which means that America is different than any other country in the world. That may not be the opinion of Barack Obama, but it certainly was the opinion of Glenn Beck and everybody who was there. And Beck pointed out that American exceptionalism came about because the country was founded on exceptional ideas and even divine ideas, if you will, taken from biblical precepts and values. Is that biased? Absolutely. Is that American-centric? Sure. Anti-multicultural? Yeah, probably. But I don't think any apologies are needed. Really, when you think about it, there are good ideas, great ideas, and not so good ideas. And every culture, every nation in the world is founded upon ideas of one stripe or another. And the fact is that some ideas are better than others. Some ideas work better, and some ideas bring about a culture and a country and a nation with greater economic abilities, greater economic blessings. The idea of letting individuals pursue their own goals and wishes, that's an American ideal. But there's also an economic idea, an economic message to Glenn Beck's event. And that was, today our government and our media, we're told basically that the welfare state, for lack of a better word, has to expand. That is just and the proper thing to do to improve America and improve the lives of millions of Americans. But is that the case? One speaker at the event, at one of the brunches, and I can't recall his name, talked about the biblical concept that each person must take responsibility for their wealth, but also for their fellow man. And that means that we're all responsible for how we take care of ourselves, and if we see someone worse off than us, then we're obligated to help them out. That's a very revolutionary precept. It's not a concept that jibes well with the welfare state. Why would that be? Why would that be such an important foundation that both Jefferson and Washington wrote explicitly about? Maybe it's because in that biblical precept, maybe there's certain wisdom there that God understood that we are now finding out. A couple things. Number one, that government is mostly inefficient at charity. Maybe 25 or 30 cents on the dollar actually goes to where it's supposed to go. The rest is wasted on bureaucracy. Number two, individual charities are much more effective, both for the giver and for the receiver. There's also more just with less fraud, and up to 95 or 96% of charities, private charities, actually get to where they need to go. So a lot of good being done. They're a lot more efficient, a lot more effective. Number three, as government welfare programs increase, what happens? Individual taxes increase, okay? And as a result, individual levels of charity fall. That's just what's happening. Charity in America is declining as taxes go up. From an authority standpoint, the state literally replaces God as the authority of how we ought to comport ourselves, and it also impoverishes more Americans at the same time. So, 40 years after the great state, 40 years after the great society, I think we ought to stop wandering in that desert and reject the notions of Keynes and of Marx and get back to the individual responsibility and the individual greatness that our country was founded upon, that Washington and Jefferson and so forth all laid out, all knew and all understood. At the end, bottom line, restoring love was really about the restoration of the American idea. Beck knows that in order to do that, we must first restore a love of American history, the good and the bad, so that both can be put in context. And as Glenn Beck pointed out, what we find is that in America that tries to live up to its ideals is self-correcting of its flaws along the way and tries to also deliver the most individual and economic freedom. So that's what the event was about. Had a great time. really positive, and I think we could use more of it. This is James R. Gorrie, Managing Editor of Absolute Wealth. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Nom 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 nom. I think that.